How's it? And welcome to my podcast. My name is Sally, and I am Wooldiaries on Instagram and on Ravelry, and I have a group on Ravelry called the Wooldiaries Podcast. I don't post a lot in there. It is just for some people requested it just to keep up so I would post that I had a new episode. So there you go. That's it. So before we start the show, I let slip, and some of you very cleverly picked it up last week, that yes, I'm going to Texas next year. I am going to the Knitting at the Hills retreat again. It's this year, it's the first weekend in March. So I'll be going a bit later and coming home a bit later, but that's okay. It actually works out better for home. But yes, for all of you who caught it, well done, you were on the ball. The second thing that I'd like to say is the responses that I got from my episode last week were absolutely amazing. You made me cry, you made me smile, you made me happy, they were all good emotions, absolutely all good emotions. The private messages, the messages I got on, hold on, is my camera flipped? I do not know why, but I feel like it is. I don't know where to go. So if I am, oh no, I'm not, it's normal. Okay, sorry about that. I just feel like everything's on the wrong side of me today. I don't know why. Yes, I was saying you all made you've made my week. It was outstanding. There was no reason why I didn't podcast. I just think it was the boys were on holiday, and yes, my children get lazy, like really lazy. And Thursday is the only day that we get to seriously hibernate. Every other day there's something going on in the house, and they can't, they can certainly relax, but there's a rush, there's a kind of a rush to have things done, except for on a Thursday. Thursday is like day off, chill, nothing gets done. You can stay in your pajamas all day, although people that know me know I can't stay in my pajamas all day. I can stay in bed maximum until about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and then I've got to get out. And I not only have to get out, but I've got to get dressed. I've got a bath, I've got to get dressed. Even if I'm not going anywhere, I still need to get going. So yes, I wanted to say thank you to every single person who sent me a message. I am drinking today. I never do that anymore. I am drinking today from one of our local grocery stores called Pick and Pay. A tea, it's apple and elderberry tea. And I even fancy made it in a teapot. I have fancy teapot. And if that gives you any indication of how long I think this podcast might go, that I made myself a pot of tea. Not just a cup, I made a pot of tea. So yes, those are the two things I wanted to say first before we get into this. Our weather has been amazing, absolutely amazing. Yesterday and today have been gorgeous. Today's weather is 6 to 23, which is 42.8 to 73.4. And we are supposed to be in August, when the weather is absolutely revolting normally. It's normally colder than June and July. The wind is normally ready to rip your head off. And I'm in a t-shirt. My children have gone to school in summer uniform today because yesterday they were too hot in their winter uniform. My boys leave home at 6:45 in the morning, so it's not like the sun is blazing hot in winter yet. I mean, it's just gotten up, really up now. But yes, it was so hot yesterday. It was really, really warm. So apart from the weather, the amazing weather we've been having, something else happened at the weekend. Sport. Now here's a warning. You might want to go and get something, pause me and go and get something to eat and to drink because I have a lot of sport today. For you who don't want to watch and don't want to listen to me waffle about sport, you might want to not watch this podcast at all today. That's fine. I'm not going to take offense, but it's the Olympics, people. There's sport like 24 hours a day at the moment with the time difference. So in South Africa, on the satellite TV dish that on the satellite TV package that I have 15 channels of sport. Out of those 15 channels, one is not in English, so that doesn't, and it's not in Afrikaans, so that doesn't help me. One is news, so that's already 2, so we are down to 13 channels. Out of those 13 channels, 11 of them have Olympic coverage on them, most of the time. And when the events start in Rio, then we go to live. But when there are no live events to be covered, then we have replays of the previous day or the previous night. So I know, like right now, the swimming from last night is on. It's a replay. But I'm not watching, I'm recording. Oh no, it's not on. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It's not on, it's finished. But yes, you know what I mean. So, you all know what I've been doing since Saturday, which is not much, but sitting on my bum, watching sport. I will say yesterday I'd had enough. I didn't watch as much yesterday. Oh yes, and we had a 4-day weekend. Maybe that's why I'd had enough. We had a 4-day weekend this weekend that's just passed in South Africa. It was Women's Day on Tuesday and the schools closed on the Monday. So we had a 4-day weekend. Not everybody had Monday off. My husband didn't. He went to work, but that's his own fault. He forgot to put in for leave, so no comment. It was Women's Day on Tuesday, yes. No, I'm not going to tell you. It's not the same. I don't think it's the same as International Women's Day in December that the rest of the world celebrates. I am not going to tell you because I'm not going to get publicly criticized or corrected about my lack of knowledge about South African history. If you want to know about South African Women's Day, you can go Google it. Bonus. How I see it is it's just a celebration of the women. No, I'm not going to. Never mind. Okay. So what have I been watching on the Olympics? I watched the opening ceremony. However, I did not watch it live. It was at 3 o'clock in the morning our time. So, no, sport cannot get me up that early. Nothing gets me up that early. No. So at 3 o'clock in the morning, our time, the opening ceremonies. I did watch the replay the following morning, and it was awesome. It really was awesome. South Africa, not so much. Hang my head in shame. We we have the fuggliest, very ugliest tracksuits ever. And yes, I guess we are there to compete and not to be in a fashion show. But you know what? We can look awesome, and we do have some seriously awesome fashion designers in this country, and we do have some awesome traditional dress as well. So yes, why we didn't at least make some sort of effort, I don't know. We just plonked out in our tracksuit. Plonked, plonked, plonked. And it's not even like the other countries that came out in their tracksuits. They had different ones for the opening ceremony to the ones that they're wearing in the actual games. No, we plonked out in the same ones. And they are very ugly. They are funky. They are very ugly. You ever designed our tracksuits? So, you all know, because we've been together now for a Commonwealth game. So you all know that my first absolute love is the swimming. I love the swimming. Not just because Matthew swims, but because South Africa actually does pretty well in swimming. And it's a sport that is actually very big here in South Africa at the school level. Even when I was at school, it was the big summer sport, whereas winter was rugby, summer was swimming. I swam for my schools, not for my primary school, I'm lying, my primary school, no. I swam for my high school though, and yes, I loved it. But let's see, what have I written here? Swimming starts on day 1 and ends on day 8. There's 8 days of swimming. There is a an afternoon session that is the majority of the heats, and then there's an evening session which is majority of the finals. There are some finals that are swum in the afternoon session, and there are some heats that are swum in the evening session. We do have a number of swimmers participating in the pool. We are not doing as well currently as we did in London, but that's fine. It's not a train smash. It is absolutely nothing to be ashamed of. I think as South Africans, as a nation, we put a lot of pressure on our sports teams. I know we do. I have witnessed what happens when our teams don't perform and they come home. But yes, we need to be proud of our athletes no matter what. First, second, third, last, doesn't matter. As a parent of a child who goes to a Crawford school, I'm extremely proud of the fact that we have 4 old boys and 1 old girl who are all swimmers participating in the Olympics. The 4 boys are swimming in the pool, and the 1 girl swims open water. We have Cameron van der Berg, van der Berg, I must say it properly. Cameron van der Berg, who is from Crawford, Pretoria. He's, not a bad swimmer, I suppose. If you get a silver medal, I suppose, and some gold ones, I suppose you're not a bad swimmer. Jared Krause is also from Crawford, Pretoria. And then we have 2 from Crawford Sainton, which is where my children go. And that is Michael Meyer and Dylan Bosch. Michael Meyer swam in a heat, and Dylan Bosch swam for in the 200-meter relay heat. Then we have Michelle Weber, and now she's from La Lucia, which is down in Natal on the north coast. And she's a long distance swimmer, so she doesn't swim in the pool. She'll swim outside. She'll swim in the dam. I don't know, in the dam, in the lake, in the whatever they're going to swim in. my Matthew would be a very good open water swimmer, but he won't because he says he doesn't know what's underneath him. Or 6'3". I swear he's bigger than anything that there would be in the water underneath him, but he won't. He just, no, he won't. So I know, as I currently sit here and what I've currently watched, South Africa has 2 silver medals. One is Chad Leclerc for the 200-meter freestyle. And he just, he's always wanted to swim the freestyle. And then we got Cameron van der Berg with a silver as well. I have not watched last night's finals yet. I plan on doing it today sometime. I don't know when, but I will. The evening session is again on at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I just record it and watch it the next day when I can. I've got school and stuff that I have to get up at 5 o'clock. I'm not getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch the swimming. As much as I love it. The other sport that I've really been watching, because it's the first time it's been at the Olympics Games, is the rugby sevens. Now, people, I appreciate that you're all falling madly in love with the rugby sevens. However, here's a few things. Rugby sevens is not the game that I watch. The game that I love and the game that I watch is played by 15 men who are double the size of a sevens player. Sevens players need to be fast and they need to be agile because of the fact that there's only 7 of them on the team. And they've got to do the job of 15 players from the normal. Okay. The game is exactly the same. However, there's 15 players. The sevens game is played 7 minutes aside, whereas the full game that I watch is played 40 minutes aside. So it's 80 minutes. What else did I write down here? It's not that I don't like watching sevens. It's that if I had the choice between sevens and 15, I would rather go for 15, for full rugby. It's my jam. When they scrum, they scrum. It's not just a little, it's a big, it's 8 people in that scrum. No, 7. I'm lying. I do. No, it's 8. No, it's 7. 3, 6, 7. It's 7 in the scrum. So, yes, it's big. And the boys are big. I mustn't call them boys. The men are big that play normal rugby. Rugby sevens is, and when it first came out, was marketed as a party. It's a 3-day event, and it's a party. From the Friday when it starts to the Sunday when it finishes, it's a huge party for the spectators. The game is fast. Each game is fast. It's very different. When it first came out, it was seen as the poor relation to the normal game. However, it is no longer that. It has its own fan base. It has its own following. It has, when it first came out in South Africa, it was people who couldn't get chosen for the Springboks. They went and they played rugby sevens. Now it's a big deal. Now it's, if you've got to really work to get on the rugby sevens team. Please hold. Somebody's at my front door. How rude. So, I was talking about rugby sevens and that it's a serious sport. Now, what I want to say is, we are a third world country. However, we are bloody good at certain things. And one of the things we are bloody good at is rugby. So yes, for us to beat France, for us to beat Australia, for us to beat It's not a big deal for us. It's expected. We expect our rugby sevens boys to have the gold medal. We are not expecting them to, finish and get the shield. No. Or the bowl, or whatever the flip it's called. We expect them to get the gold medal. And here's what I'm saying about the pressure. So if they come home and they don't have it, the reception that they get will be very different to the reception that they deserve for just being there. Rugby sevens, people, is actually played all over the world. It's even played in Morocco. There's a rugby sevens, and I think the last one was held in Las Vegas. There's a rugby sevens tournament that's held in Las Vegas. I think it was there last time. But it goes everywhere. It goes to Hong Kong, it goes to London, it comes here, it goes all over the place. And like I said, it's a 3-day party. From the Friday all the way to the Sunday when it finishes. So yes. Love you all for falling in love with rugby. Love you all. But no, it's a bit different to the rugby that I love. So, the other thing I've been watching is the equestrian. Woo, lots of words. I can appreciate the dedication that it must take to become that kind of a rider. What I love about the equestrian is that the men and women compete on equal terms, so there's no men's jumping and females jumping. There's just jumping, and men and female are competing against each other. I believe, and I stand corrected, that it's the only sport that happens, but I do stand corrected. If you know of another sport where men and women compete against each other, please tell me. I'd love to watch that too. But I don't know if it's the actual sport or if it's the commentators, but I fell asleep. In my head and shape, I fell asleep. It's not very riveting. I will say watching the horses jump is really riveting, because you're like, is he going to make it? Of course he's going to make it, but you know, like, you don't know. I'm not a rider. So yes, I've been watching gymnastics. I watched the men and then totally forgot to watch the women. I did watch one round of the women's team qualifications, and wow, was I impressed. There was a 31-year-old gymnast that was competing. That's outstanding. That is mind-blowing. I was very impressed with that. I completely missed the rest of it. I missed the final, which apparently Morocco won by a long shot, so good for them. Fantastic for them. But yes, I missed. We don't get gymnastics, so it is something that I do try and watch, because it's not something that's on TV. Weightlifting. Now that's an interesting sport. I have never really watched it before, and I was watching it with Tony the other night, and we were just about to turn off, and it was coming to an end. And the tactics that are used, I never realized. I honestly thought it was just about you lift or you don't lift. So therefore you win or you don't win. And it's got to do with your body weight versus how much you... Woo, that helicopter was close. How much it's got to do with how much you weigh and how much you lift, where you land up in the placings. But also it's got to do with tactics. It's really fascinating. I honestly did not know, and now I actually look for weightlifting on the TV because I want to see the mind games, because it's mind games. It's brilliant. Fantastic. People, go watch. There are other sports that I have been flicking through, which is the rowing, but wow, the rowing takes a long time to get through. Except for the big boats, the 8, I can't remember what they're called. Sculls? Is that it? They got a special name. The big boats, they go freakishly fast. The single rowers, wow. Not so fast. So I'm concentrating. I have to concentrate when I'm being all fancy with a teapot. Oops. Fancy with a teapot. And the diving. The diving is not... whereas I can appreciate the synchronization and the stamina and the strength that it takes for the diving, I get a bit annoyed when they're not doing it right. I know that's evil because I could never do what they do. And what's been on now is the synchronized diving. So there's 2 of them, and you can see it immediately when they're not in sync. And I'm like, how can you be at the Olympic Games and not be in sync? But it happens. It happens. It happens. I just need to tell myself these are people. But yes. So that was my Olympics. Sport. And you say to yourself, really, I wonder if there's any more. Seriously, there is more. Super Rugby ended on Saturday morning. The Lions, which is our Gauteng team. I am in Gauteng. It is our Johannesburg team, should I say. I am in Johannesburg. I do not support the Lions. I support the Bulls, which is the Pretoria, the Swane team. They got through to the final. South Africa. Now, here's the thing. When, I say that a lot, don't I? Oh, well, here's the thing. When my team doesn't feature, so let's say this weekend the Lions played the Hurricanes in Wellington in New Zealand. Now, it wasn't the Bulls. It was the Lions. The Bulls are out. The Bulls are out. But the Lions is a South African team. So I'm going to support the South African team. I'm not going to support the New Zealand team. I do not live in New Zealand. I have no New Zealand blood that I know of. I live in South Africa and my children have South African blood. I don't, but I've been here longer than in the UK. I will support the South African team. Now, it gets a bit hair-raising when it's a England team versus a South African team. It will all depend on which team it is. Okay? So I was supporting the Lions. Our Lions, they've done fantastic to get to the final. Absolutely amazing. They steamrolled over everybody, except for the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes wanted it more. That's all. They outplayed the Lions from the first whistle. And that's all right. That's all right. The Lions did us proud. They never gave up. They kept trying, even though the Hurricanes knocked them back. That's fine. That's fine. They didn't just roll over. They did not just roll over. And that's the end of the sport. I don't know how long this video is going to be now, so I can't even put in the time. I'm so sorry. I'm useless at this because I had to stop now because the front doorbell went. Oh. Now we get to the shortest part. I think this is actually going to be shorter. Well, I don't know. This might be shorter than the sport. Might be, might not be. And that is the knitting part. So just get it out there. Zero stash. Nada, nada, nada. That I can remember. I didn't put anything out. And I normally, if I do have it, I don't even pack it in my cupboard. I put it. Please hold, my gate just opened. I have a funny feeling my husband's come home. Knitting. So I was saying I had no stash enhancements at all. Right. I got chilly all of a sudden, so I've just pulled on my cardigan. And with the Olympic Games being on, that means the Ravelinic Games have also started. There is a group called the Ravelinics. It's called Ravelinics 2016. I'm not on a team. I don't want to participate on a team. I'm quite happy to be an individual participant. I've entered the event called the Shawl Sailing. If you want to know more about the Ravelinics, I strongly suggest you go and look at the group. Everything is there. It is amazing, the detail and the work that these ladies put into it is fantastic. The moderators are brilliant. They really are. I take my hat off to the moderators. So I'm doing the Shawl Sailing. I've only entered one event. I probably will do more, but for now I'm doing the Shawl Sailing. And I'm aiming to get a laurel for beading, lace and stash. Now, Shawl Sailing is what I will get a medal for. The laurels are just a bonus. They just, so, but I've got to still complete it before the end of the closing ceremonies to get any of those. They're not a, you don't get real anything. It's just for kudos. It's just for, not kudos. It's just to say I competed in the Ravelinics and this was my project. For me, anyway. For me. So the projects that I cast are not during the opening Olympics when they were live. Like I said, I did not watch them live. I watched them the following day. So I cast on the following day. Is the Asana shawl by Helen Stewart of the Curious Handmade brand. It is the third shawl from the Shawl Society that she started, well, 3 months ago now. I wanted to buy it. I should have bought it when it was on a reduced price, but I didn't. And at the time, the rand was very weak against the pound, so it was redonkulously stupidly expensive. Yeah, it was like, I want to say millions. No, it was hundreds of rands, but it was even for 6 patterns, it was still too much to swallow. So what happened recently is that the rand has strengthened against the pound. I'm not going to get into why. Again, I don't feel like being corrected. So I purchased it. I've loved the first 2, the talisman and the amulet shawl. I want to make those 2. I will make them as soon as I'm finished. Probably as soon as I'm finished this one, I will cast on the amulet because it's a different shape. But yes, love it. Love it, love it, love it. So after a lot of irritating myself and a lot of irritating the pink fluffy friend of mine, Sally Jane, Pink Hair Girl Knit, go watch your podcast. Watch tomorrow. Just saying. I am doing the large size, which was actually written for lace, but I have enough fingering weight to do the large size and fingering weight. So mine's going to be even larger than the large size, which is fabulous. You know, because with me, it's go big or go home. If you don't, you know my life. Everything is big. My kids are big. My car is big. My husband is big. Everything is big. I swear I should live in Texas because the bigger it is, the better it is. I miss my true destination. No, I didn't. I love my country. Love my country. So, I am knitting, and this is what it looks like. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me just do that. There you go. And it is the Asana shawl by Helen Stewart. So, I am doing the large size, like I said, and I am currently on the second beaded section. So I don't want to touch it because now it's going to go. Just finish that part there. Right there. So I've got another one of this repeat to do, and then I move into the border lace. And like I said, I started it on Saturday, and I finished the garter body on Monday. Damn Olympics. I flew straight past. I did 4 rows too many. So on Tuesday I had to think back 4 rows first. I did contemplate just bypassing the whole first section of the lace, and then I was like, no, but I want to do it. So I think back anyway. No, I had no lifelines. I was doing garter stitch. People, I was doing garter stitch. You don't put lifelines in garter stitch. Now, you've seen this yarn before. It tried to be, the first time you saw it, it tried to be the mama vertebrae, the green and red one, which I didn't like. Then you saw it at the beginning of this year, and it tried to be a pullover. And when I tried the pullover on, it was too small. It was not what I had in my mind. I might make it again, but I'll definitely go up a few sizes, not just one size, which I did this time. I will probably go up a few more sizes. So it got ripped out. It is now the shawl, and it will stay the shawl because I actually love it. Absolutely love it. So it's the One of a Kind merino. They started off as a bright red, and then Tiny Giraffe from Midnight Sheep, she overdyed it for me, and it's now a much deeper, darker red. The beads I've chosen to use are just some cheap beads that I have in my stash. They are black plastic. They're not plastic. They're black shiny ones. So, here is my shawl. It is on my, and of course the camera goes for a ball of crap. It is on my 4mm signature needles. And let me now see if I can get it to behave so that we will show you the beads. There you go, because I folded it in half, so now it will. Yeah, and this yarn loves dog hair. My lord, does it love dog hair. The dogs look at it and it gets full of dog hair. So yes, there you can see my black shiny beads. And they're all different shapes because they were out cheapos, and that's fine by me. I got them at the Chinese bead shop. So they come from China. Still makes me happy to use them. I had originally wanted to use silver beads, but when I put the silver beads on it, I was like, oh, they stood out too much. And then I've got gunmetal grey beads, and they still stood out too much. I wanted these beads to be more subtle. The only red beads I've got is Screaming Postbox red beads. So I opted for the black ones, and I do love them. I absolutely Oh, that wasn't the dog hair, that was my hair. Okay, let your own hair in. Okay. Can't blame the dogs for all the hair. So yes, I am, according to Helen's pattern, 1 row away from being at 55%. She actually marks your percentage, which is fantastic, fabulous. Because I got to 50%, I was like, woohoo! Home hill, homeward hill. What? Downward hill. Such a dog. Such a dog. Yes, I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, with it being beaded, I can't take it in the car. So fetching my children yesterday, I cast on a pair of socks. But I did 5 rounds, so they're still in the car. Next week I will have done more. So you will see more next week. Promise, promise, promise. Hopefully the shawl will be an FO. And then, yes. So that is the first shawl from the Shawl Society that I'm knitting on. If you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been. You've been like under a rock or something, I think, maybe. The second shawl that I've done work on since I recorded last and I said I was going to was the Dockside. And my projects are all living in my Sally Jane bags from our sock club last year. So my Ashana is living in my Keep Calm and Carry yarn bag. Because I miss my BFF. And my Dockside is living in my Frozen bag. So it's all about Sally Jane bags. And you can't buy them. They're unique. They're one of a kind. So my Dockside, I'm on clue 5. Now let me show you what it looks like, and then I can put it away and I can talk about everything else. So, okay, if you're knitting this and you don't want to see, close your eyes now. You can leave your ears open because I'm not going to say anything except for this is clue 1, this is clue 2, this is clue 3, 4, 5. So, it's plain, almost, clue 1. Now mine's very dark because of the colour I'm doing. Clue 2. Clue 3. I'm useless today. Clue 4. And then I finished clue 5. Okay, I'm putting it away now so you can look again if you're knitting it and you don't want spoilers. So that's clue 5. If you remember last year I did the Thunderstorm by Alicia Plummer and I absolutely loved it. However, I do remember last year I got to a certain clue and I was like, oh my god, I hate this woman. And it was the same with this clue. It's exactly the same kind of lace. I hate this kind of lace that I think I did 2 rows in one day because I loathe it so much. I just sat looking at it hoping it was going to knit itself. Doesn't. How rude. I am doing my shawl not in worsted weight as the pattern calls. I am doing mine in fingering weight. Oh dear. And I am using Nurturing Fibers Super Twist sock wool, and it is in the charcoal colorway. And I am still on my first ball. Like I said, if it lands up, went down a needle size. I am using, of course, I have no idea because I took out the needle that doesn't have the size on it. No, man. I might do for something. do have the sizes on them. Where's 3.5 millimeter. So I've gone down to 3.5 millimeter. If the shawl ends up being too small, then my plan is to start the repeats all over again. We'll see. That's my plan. Whether it happens or not is another story. So those are my 2 works in progress. The dark side, the next clue comes out on Monday. They come out every 2 weeks. So, and I don't know how many clues there are. I have no cooking clue. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I have 1 FO. Because you know that I wasn't going to knit on my dark side until my socks are finished. So my very ugly fugly socks are finished. This is the one that I hadn't finished last week. I think I just had the ribbing to go last week. So there's my sock. And just to prove, I have 2 fugly socks. There they are. The ends are all woven in. I seem to be doing it as I go now. I'm not leaving it until the end. So when I finish my sock, all I have to do is weave in the end from the cast off, and that's it finished. So yes, that is my socks. And finally, Poplups, that is it. I am finished. I think I am. Wow. I'm sorry that this episode has been a little bit helter-skelter all over the place. But that's me. Oh, did you see my friend is still here? Damn thing. I'm like 41 and I still get zits. What the hell? Anyway, so, tot ziens. Remember, if you want to see progress, knit on one thing at a time.